Hello, this is Eli with Auto House. So today we got the Ford Edge 2008 Ford Edge in the shop again here, and the brake booster is going out. So essentially it's making like a squeaking noise under the hood here, and then I'll show you later in the video, it's making a hissing noise right by the pedal inside the cabin. So I've never done one of these, as with just about everything I work on. So probably gonna have to pull the battery, probably gonna pull this battery box out, and the upper part of this, maybe probably not the bottom part, but at least the upper part of this air box, and the boot going all the way back to the intake. And then of course the brake master is gonna have to be disconnected. And then I'll show you later, there's bolts inside, and then the linkage where it hooks to the pedal is gonna have to be disconnected. So let's get into this. So I want to show you guys what it looks like and sounds like actually when the brake booster is going out. When you hit the brake, you can hear a hissing sound inside here coming from the back of the brake booster right there. It means the diaphragm's ruptured inside. So it's leaking that vacuum past onto the other side of the diaphragm, where it's supposed to be just atmospheric. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do is unhook the battery here. 10 mil, I think this is the way, yeah. And these are kind of funky on these. His are all rusted up, so probably ought to replace those, Joel.
Thanks for throwing that out there.
It happens when you don't maintain keeping it clean. It tends to corrode. But the way Ford did these ones is weird. It just kind of wedges it out and pulls tighter. So it's odd. But yeah, you always, for the most part, want to unhook your negative first so you don't hit your wrench against something that's grounded and make a big spark. So we'll get that unhooked. His hold down's actually missing the bolt, so that makes that easier. Get this boot off of here. It's just a 8 mil or a straight head screwdriver on that. Then you got this little hose back in here that's got to come out. Pop that out. Take off your mass airflow connector. Popped out. And then this thing here again. How long's it been since we did the timing chain water pump on this guy?
Almost a month. About 4
yeah.
weeks. It's been 4 weeks.
Not quite fix or repair daily, but pretty close.
It's always something. Just think, Eli, this thing will be brand new.
Yeah. It's amazing you were saying that these engines are known to get 500,000 miles. That's pretty impressive.
There was I seen a reply on the YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
This guy had a 14 Edge.
Yeah.
382,000.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. All right, 10 mil. This out of the way here. Can't really tell what that back bolt looks like. It looks more like there used to be a nut there, maybe. We'll see. Hopefully we don't have to fight that one too much. It's pretty rusty. It's one thing you can do when you're doing a battery cleaning. You could pull the battery out You can clean all this little stuff and spray your protectant on there. They have a battery cleaner though, aerosolized, that will turn red when it touches acid. And that's kind of nice. It shows you that there's acid there. Take this off. And then when you spray it off, it takes it down to bare metal with that battery cleaner. And then you can put your red protectant, keep it from corroding, or you could even replace bolts if they're questionable. Because as a battery charges, it emits gases, corrosive gases, and highly explosive as well. So I want to show you guys this here Royal Purple Max Film. This is the best penetrating oil I've ever seen in my life. And they're not like a sponsor or anything. I don't even have sponsors. So this stuff though is amazing. I used it on my sailboat and it just astounded me on the turnbuckles for the standing rigging. So I don't know if it's going to help us much here, but we'll try it out. I think we're probably just gonna have to break it off. So I got this thing to start spinning. So I busted off the stud that was on top there. See that rusty old thing there? And then I had just enough to get on, and with that amazing penetrating oil, it actually came loose. Looking at this, we could have really fought this if there was nothing to grab onto. There you go, look at that thing. It's like nothing left. Just barely. I had just enough to grab in one direction. Got it. Cool. Now we're gonna have to get this connector off here. I don't know if the bracket's gonna have to come out of there. Somehow we gotta get it out past this, all this here. It's gonna be tight. We'll figure it out though. If someone else can do it, we can do it. Car companies are usually pretty good about designing things in a way that allows you to fix it. Alright, 15 mil, gonna get these off. I was gonna try to do this without pulling this completely out of the way, but I think I'm gonna just pull it out of the way. Got some pig pads, but I'm all out of pig pads.
Oh, we're gonna have a fluid leak.
Yeah, and then we're gonna have to re-bleed this. We'll have to get you some more fluid and bleed it. All your brakes will have to be bled. It's gonna make a big mess. We'll have to clean up too. Just get those all off. And then it's a half deep, or a 13 deep. So I'm going to show you real quick on the inside here. So we're going to have to pull off these 4 nuts right here. There's 4 of those. We're going to have to get to those. And we're going to have to pull off this clip here to disconnect the back of this brake booster from the pedal. Okay, so this actually pushes in to the hole in the big pin, and this just kind of grips around the side. That's how that works. Kind of wiggle it, pull back and forth on the pedal, get that pin out, and then now we just need to get to those 4 bolts. It's my Wobbly. I can't really record it and show you guys, but it's pretty self-explanatory. So I got all those bolts out in there. Kind of sticks in there. It's definitely not an easy thing to get out and probably back in, but we'll have to figure out a way now. We're already too deep into it. Of course, there's probably a protocol like pulling your whole intake manifold or something crazy like that. But allegedly people have done this without doing all that. Definitely had to remove that brake master though. There'd have been no way. This hose is kind of being a pain right now too. There we go. Had to get that connector that connects to your pedal out of the way. I'm gonna pull this off too. Yeah, that hose is kind of in the way. Need to grab my shoehorn.
Almost there.
What's always fun is kind of figuring out how to get it back in. So I kind of looked down in here. This is really the part that was messing me up, was this connector here. I don't know. I don't even think it's possible to remove that anyhow. It looks like it's integral to the thing. So it kind of came out right through here, and I just kind of forced it out and rolled it out of there. There you are though. Here's the new part. Just want to show you guys this real quick. Here's the part number. Where'd you get this again, Joel?
Just O'Reilly's.
O'Reilly's. So, part number for that. Okay.
You gonna film now?
I'm gonna go ahead and dump this out. We're gonna put all new fluid in here. See how nasty that looks there? It's got like particulates in it, and it's just cloudy, and definitely want to get rid of all that you can. And then we'll put brand new .3 in there. So the thing to remember about brake fluid is if you buy a big giant jug of it and you're thinking, oh, I'll have some more for later, as soon as you open that container and you let air in there, the air has moisture in it most of the time. So that moisture is going to be soaking in to the fluid and degrading it as it sits there on your shelf. So you're better off to buy a bunch of small containers, even if it's a little more expensive, or to even better yet, just buy the exact amount that you need. So the other thing to remember about brake fluid, it will eat your paint if you leave it on there. So if you leave that fluid sitting on there and don't clean it out, I've seen it eat paint. I don't know if it always does or if it's just certain paint, but I've definitely seen it through the years on my own vehicles where I got lazy and was just thinking, oh, I'll just leave it. And then the paint was gone.
Tighter?
Yeah. All right. It's gonna go in there with the label upright because that's gonna go up in that upper right hand corner looking from the front. That's the way it was oriented when we pulled it out. So I'm gonna try to just snake it in there just the same way it came out. Get that on the right side of that hose. It'd definitely be easier with that intake out. It's always fun trying to get it back in. And you fight it out like we did. Alright, it's looking good. Looking promising. Get this over here out of our way. Gotta somehow get that up inside that hole. And then I'll have to go in before we jam it all the way in the holes. I'll have to go in and straighten out that linkage so that it's gonna go onto the pedal like it's supposed to. Okay, I started in here, got the 4 bolts nuts tight, and hooked this back up to the pedal. A little tricky finding the hole with the big pin. And then got my little keeper pin back on, and I just wrenched down pretty good and tight on those. I mean, you don't want to go too tight because you could bust off those studs, but yeah, just make sure it's tight. It's your brakes, they're pretty important. So all right, got the brake master in there, went ahead and bled the brakes, put some new fluid in there, and flushed it out at the same time. Just make sure and tighten these up nice and tight before you start all that. You can also bleed your air here initially. Like get these just kind of just a little bit loose, just a tiny bit loose, and then you could fill your fluid and just let it gravity bleed out through these for a little while. And then you're just gonna have your little air pocket that's here. And you can even bleed it like you would normally with your brakes, where you tighten it, have someone pump it just lightly a couple times and hold, and then crack it, and just keep doing that until you get no more air bubbles here. And that would probably keep you from shoving all that air down your brake lines and through your ABS module and all that. So just a little tip, I've done that in the past before. Bleed it right there at the master. So got this all hooked up, my bolts tightened down back, my nuts tightened down back there, and I got this pop back in. So we're ready to move on and keep getting stuff installed here. Got the boot back in, everything tightened up, clamp back here, hose back here, the little guy that pops out, mass airflow connected back up, this guy here, PCB line, just getting this cap back on. Would have been nice to replace this, but didn't think about it. Have to replace the whole thing. I don't know. Yeah, that's tight. You're gonna have to replace that though.
Okay.
So we'll have to go get you some new brake fluid. I probably have some old brake fluid. I'm gonna tighten this anyhow. See, it wants to spin. Yeah. Put some of this royal purple penetrating oil on it. Maybe it'll get in there and eventually break loose. Here. I'll help save you down the road. Good stuff. Protector. And then they have the cleaner that looks, the can looks the same, but it's battery cleaner, and it'll turn red. Like I was saying earlier, it'll turn red when it hits acid. and then you let it sit like 10 minutes after you spray it on there with your terminals off. Put it on the battery and on the terminal end, and when you go to spray that off with a hose, it'll be bare metal again. It's amazing stuff, literally bare metal. And then let it dry or blow with air, compressed air to dry it, put it back together, and then spray this on after you tighten it, and then you're good for a while.
Hey, I'm Joel, your camera guy here for Eli's auto house. Anyways, I'm the owner of this Ford Edge, and I just wanted to say that I'm forever grateful for Eli and taking his time and helping me out with my auto needs here, keeping me on the road. Definitely forever grateful for a guy like that takes his own time to help me out, and you know, just goes to show you, brothers in recovery, you know, just the willingness that it takes to do that, giving up his own time just to help a guy out like me. So anyways, hope the video helps, and forever grateful. Thank you, Eli.
All right, got it all together. Did a quick little double check, make sure everything's plugged in, everything's hooked up, brakes are bled. I'm going to go ahead and fire it up. Make sure it's not leaking or doing anything funny here. So before, when you would hit the brakes, go ahead and hit them. You could hear like a whining noise under here. And then I showed you guys the hissing noise. No more hissing noise. All right, perfect. There you go. We'll test drive it later. But there's another completed project. Thank you guys for watching. If you like the content, please like and subscribe, and that'll inspire me to make more. Thank you.